Hayao Miyazaki is, in my opinion, one of the greatest storytellers to ever live. His imagination and creativity are unmatched by any animator. He brings some of the most colorful and dreamlike characters to the screen, but has an innate ability to capture the humanity of his characters in the midst of wild imagination. For this video, I will be reviewing his 2001 Oscar winner Spirited Away, which is still the highest grossing film of all time in Japan and one of my absolute favorite films. Spirited Away is the story of a 10-year-old girl named Chihiro who moves away from her hometown, and as her family stumbles upon a bathhouse for gods, they are turned into pigs when they consume food that is made for spirits. Chihiro must then do everything she can to save them. In the opening frames of this film, we are able to capture so much about this character Chihiro, especially her emotions and personality. Notice how realistic Miyazaki's animation is, especially with character motivations and body language. Observe how Chihiro is sitting in the car, almost as if she can't bear to look outside or at her parents as they arrive at her new home. These moments in his films are what set his work apart from other films. He explains this element in an interview with Roger Ebert. He says, "We have a word for that in Japanese. It's called ma, emptiness. It's there intentionally." He claps his hands. "The time in between my clapping is ma. If we just have non-stop action with no breathing space at all, it's just busyness. But if you take a moment, the tension building in the film can grow into a wider dimension. If you just have constant tension at 80 degrees all the time, you just get numb." This is found throughout his film in multiple ways. Notice how Chihiro sits on a ledge after a long, hard day's work, or how she rides on a train in silence, or the way she puts on her shoes. These are the subtle and human details that deepen the world's stories and characters in a way that action cannot. These moments do not advance the plot, they simply show the character sitting and taking it all in. It also allows you as the audience to sit and rest in the story as you learn more about the characters, specifically Chihiro. The reason why this is moving is because his characters are so human and relatable, but are set in fantastical worlds, such as Chihiro, a 10-year-old girl working in a bathhouse for spirits. But not all of the story is make-believe. Miyazaki draws most of his stories from his own experience. For example, Chihiro was created because of one of Miyazaki's best friend's daughter. Or take this bath scene where a river god comes in to be cleaned and Chihiro finds a bike stuck in his side. This was drawn from an experience that Miyazaki had cleaning a river himself, when it took about 10 men to pull a bike out of the river. This makes his stories, however otherworldly, absolutely original because they are based on his own real experiences. Everything about Spirited Away is incredibly bizarre. The characters and the events that transpire are exceptionally unusual. You have so many strange characters, from little soot sprites, six-armed men, or even a radish spirit. The way the story is told is also unconventional compared to traditional animation movies, or movies in general. It is slow and doesn't have a hard-driving plotline. There are incidents and character interactions that don't advance the plot, but let us know more about the characters. The story is told in a more natural way, allowing the viewer to relax and truly capture Chihiro and who she becomes, rather than it being about some overarching story. As this film unfolds, you watch Chihiro find her bravery as she works to rescue her parents. She grows into a young woman and you see her make friends and help them as well. Chihiro is, as Miyazaki describes, a lazy bum.
She's kind of a lazy bum, which is exactly the way that my favorite 10-year-old girls are. You lazy bum, I want to tell them, but I know their inner resources are as rich as Chihiro's. She is tossed suddenly into a rather alarming situation, where she's either going to get chewed up and spat out or make up her mind to get down to business and survive.
She faces up against gods, spirits, and witches throughout the film, and she must be courageous, focused, and hardworking in order to save her parents before they are eaten. Interestingly, when watching this film, there's no true villain. Yubaba, who runs the bathhouse, is classified as an evil witch, but this character is rather intricate. She's not evil just to be evil. She is consumed with her business, but she is capable of love and sympathy, as she allows Chihiro to work at the cost of her name, and we see her ability to love with her child. She uses manipulation by taking workers' names to make sure that she has a successful bathhouse. She never brings any harm to anyone in this story. Instead, she uses fear to make sure everything works accordingly. This is the magic of Miyazaki characters, as there is no good and evil, rather simply humans or characters who have different levels of good and bad motivations. One of my favorite characters is No Face. This god is incredibly complex, but at times can seem unnecessary or confusing, but he encapsulates the loneliness we all have and shows us how we all want community, we all want friends, and we all want to be loved, and we are willing to do anything to gain that. So what makes this movie so special? Not only is it transporting, but it is so relatable. All of the characters have realistic motives and emotions that we have all experienced, whether it's sadness or sleeping in. The first time I watched this movie, I sat back and said, I don't know what I saw, but I know I loved it. And every time I revisit this film, I understand the characters more, and that's what really makes this movie stand out. It captures our imaginations and empathy at the same time, and allows us to be consumed in this insane world because we feel right along with Chihiro. Spirited Away is a movie that really helped me understand who we are as humans, and that however crazy our worlds are, we have people around us who we care about, and who care about us. I highly encourage you to watch this film and release any apprehension you have with anime or unusual storytelling. Sit down with your friends and family and experience the magic of Miyazaki storytelling.